What's going on, guys? Welcome to For the Fans. I'm here. Kevin's here again on a Thursday, and this week we're joined by Kiley and Sheldon.
Hello.
What's going on, guys?
This has been a heavy week of Big Brother. I've been thinking about this before bed every night, and it's keeping me from sleeping because I have a lot of thoughts. I've got a lot of questions. I'm a little confused about certain things. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm not watching the live feeds and I'm not a Twitter mob. But I'm excited to talk about it to get down to what actually happened.
Greedy.
So loud today, Kiley.
I don't know.
Yeah, your microphone's like right in front of your face. We have 2 episodes to go through, sorta. Yeah. We're gonna talk openly and freely. They're like a 2-part episode, so we'll just talk about them like together. Before we do that, though, as we always talk about, as soon as we get to 250 subscribers, we are giving away a golden power of Veto, signed by a former house guest. So make sure you guys get the subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the little bell so you get the notifications.
Kiley, can we give them a little hint as to who it is? Just a
Sure. Okay, we'll start giving away hints.
Okay.
Let's start with a very broad hint.
We know it's a guy, so that's the first thing we know.
Okay, we know it's a man. Okay.
We know that.
All right. That's hint 1, and hint 2. We will say
he.
Earlier eras of Big Brother.
Dr. Will? Dr. Will?
Maybe.
Mike Boogie from jail?
It's definitely not Dr. Will because he said this person won a veto. And Dr. Will
Eddie McGee
famously didn't win anything.
Eddie McGee.
Possibly.
I don't think Eddie won any vetoes because I don't think there was a veto then.
There was.
Yeah, I don't think
there was nothing. We just watched them. We were being stalkers that season.
Yeah.
So make sure you get subscribed and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Let's get into these 2 episodes, man. I mean, like, there's a lot to talk about. So I'm an avid live feed watcher. So it's interesting watching the edits, especially because, as we talked about on the 5 p.m. show on Monday, there was several things that they were cutting all weekend as things were happening, and they were intentionally not showing us for reasons. I don't really know why.
I'm sure that, because like this house meeting that we see tonight was not on the feeds. Obviously, Big Brother cut as much of it as they could so that they could control the narrative. I mean, and anytime
they showed full conversations with Alyssa. They showed full conversations between Terrence and Kyle. Like, there's a lot of things. Because I'm with you. I thought they would like cut a lot of stuff to have juicy stuff to show that they can control and not see everything. But the things they chose to cut were interesting. Like, for instance, multiple times this week, anytime Monty and Taylor were talking about the situation, they cut. Anytime Monty was talking to people about it with Kyle in the room, they cut. And it's like they were intentionally not showing Monty and Taylor talk about this thing, but they show, like, prime example, the conversation kicks off with as we see in the episode from yesterday, Brittany and Michael talking to Taylor and Monty. Monty arrives upstairs and they cut the feeds and show Turner sleeping. Yet we saw Michael and Brittany have the whole conversation with Alyssa, and we saw Michael and Brittany have the whole conversation with Turner. But when Monty started to tell Terrence, they cut again. It is as if they were intentionally not showing the people of color talking about the incident themselves, but they.
What's if you're Big Brother? What's the risk?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying.
Why?
I'm, as you two have known me for a while, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, which is
Yeah.
why I'm just confused as to like, why didn't I see Monty and Terrence get the complete breakdown of what was going on? Why was it intercut several times while they were talking? Yet on cameras 3 and 4, I had the whole view of the HOH room of
Sleeping.
Michael telling, of Michael telling Turner, and then Brittany knocking on the door and coming in. Like, why did I get that whole view? But like when
Well-
Terrence was talking to Monty, it would go, "We'll be right back. We'll
Can
be
I
right
just
back."
say, like I've got two theories. I don't know if any of them are right. Theory number one is they wanted to keep content for television, which much of which we didn't get. Although I'm sure there is stuff we probably got that was cut from
Yeah,
the
definitely. We
episode
did.
tonight.
We definitely did.
So they wanted
We
to
definitely
keep
did.
content. Number two is, look, this is a business, and I'm not an American, but my assumption is there are a lot of Americans who do not necessarily want to watch a television show that has this much focus on race. And the more time they give people and the more power they give people to see what's actually going on in the house, as opposed to what they just did in the last episode and a half, which was really tie a big bow on it in an episode and a half. They cut it and we're done. I doubt we're ever going to talk about race this season again unless something else happens, right? Like, I think that they believe that, A, from an audience perspective, for many people, they don't want to see it. I also think, B, from a selling advertisements perspective, their advertisements, their advertisers don't want to be on a show with anybody on any side of this argument. They want people to watch a television show. So for me, like, those are my two theories. One is maybe a little bit nefarious, which I hope is not the case. And one is they just wanted to keep the good stuff for us to watch on Thursday and Wednesday.
I mean, I think that you're probably a little right for both things. Ultimately they are making a television show and they have to, balance what's actually happening in the house versus what can be appealing to the masses. And that is a balance that they have to do when they're producing a television show. And I think that's why we see that, the BB Twitterverse has been in an uproar over Kyle for weeks, since he had these conversations with Michael and Brittany, 3 weeks ago. And everybody wanted Kyle exposed on BB Twitter, but the show chose not to expose him until it absolutely was part of the narrative. Like, there's no way that they can show you Kyle going up on the block this week without giving you the backstory.
But they did show it.
They had to cram a lot of what has happened into a very, very small amount of television.
But Kiley, they did show it. Like, it's not like we didn't know that Kyle suggested that they should form a white alliance. Like, we saw that, I guess, a week ago. I don't know when it was, but we've seen it.
So it happened 2 weeks ago, but they were, as Kiley said, they were intentionally ignoring it when it was happening. And so the uproar from the internet forced a small segment to be put on there. So as you saw, Sheldon, tonight's episode, there were several, between tonight and yesterday's episode, there were several flashbacks.
Like there were 3 conversations from what we saw. There was one in the bathroom, there was one outdoors in the backyard, and I think there was one in the HOH room. That's what it seemed like.
There's at least
there was at least those 3. He had talked during Michael's HOH week. He had talked about it several times with Michael. And so those things happened, though, weeks ago. And so, as we've talked about before with Big Brother, they're editing on the fly, right? Kyle was in a fantastic place in the game. So you would not want to show these things
if he was an eventual winner.
Correct. So since they wouldn't want to show these things if he's the eventual winner, they kept these things under wraps and they kept it hidden. And so this week, as you said, there was no denying that he was going home. So it's time to pull up all the old stuff.
It's not just that there was no denying that he was not going home. Turner put him up because of this. Like they couldn't not tell the story. Right. And my assumption is, if it's true that the nefarious theory that I had, that it's a bit more businessy, which, shocker, CBS is a business, right? Mm-hmm. Then they would never have wanted to show any of this. Right. It wouldn't have come up.
And I mean, I think ultimately, and I feel like we've talked about this before. I do think that they try to portray the 16 house guests in the best light that they possibly can. They do not bring these people on here like, ooh, we're going to just, drag them through the mud and make them look like shit and have all these ramifications when they get out of the house. I think that they genuinely tried to make all 16 people look as good as possible. We didn't see the worst of Paloma. We didn't see the worst of Nicole. We didn't see the worst of Daniel. And,
Holy fuck, that's really bad.
exactly. You know what I mean? They have to show a little bit when it is why they eventually leave the house, but they don't ever show you everything. I feel like there's been very, very few times where CBS has put somebody on blast, and one of those people being Aaron. And, there's been few times that someone's, like been held to the flame.
So you mentioned Aaron. That was a different era of the show, right? That was when they first found out, accidentally,
that racism exists.
No, that's when they found out that people could get people fired.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron gets fired. Gina Marie gets fired. Spencer gets fired. Like for the things they say. CBS starts airing a disclaimer on the live feeds. We start seeing a disclaimer for the first time, saying that the views of the house guests do not represent the views of CBS, yada yada. Like they were taking feeds down during 15 because they didn't know what to do about the blatant racism of the show. And after 15, guests that also came on board became much more also aware that it's much more important to be PC, if you will. People talk about that this Big Brother is different than old Big Brother. Yes, because the internet exists, and
there's also a societal shift going on. Like we're in the thick of it. Something happened. Like what was it? There's a reason why when we all look at shows from when we were kids in the 90s, we watch it and cringe a little bit at that, and think in the back of our heads, this would not fly in 2022. Like our society has shifted. Maybe we haven't reached our end goal. In fact, I'm certain we haven't reached our end goal or ever will, for that matter. But this is just fundamentally a very different time. And our understanding in our conversation specifically around race is a very, very, very different one. I'm not actually sure that the cookout would have been as accepted 15 years ago if they allowed, a 50-50 cast. I'm not sure if we would have had the exact same conversation about the cookout as we did last season.
Watching looking at the Big Brother Facebook page, the prevailing comment is, you allowed the cookout, an all-black alliance exist. Why can't an all-white alliance exist?
So can you give the answer to that? Like, what's the rationale? So my rationale of why I was okay with I shouldn't say I was okay. It doesn't really fucking matter what I believe. But like the reason why I looked at the cookout last season, and at first I will say I had feelings of, maybe something feels a little strange about this to me, about a alliance solely on the basis of race. But as I went through the season, as I learned more, and to be honest, I talked more to you, Kevin, because you are a friend of mine, thank God. I felt comfortable with it because they had a specific goal. And the specific goal for the cookout was a black person had never won Big Brother. A black person, when given a fair and equal chance, should 100% over 20-something seasons of Big Brother have won Big Brother. So there must have been some other reason, nefarious, purposeful or not, that a black person has not won Big Brother. And so for me, I was completely fine with the cookout going out and doing what they did because their goal to me was noble and right. I have nothing else to say. but I guess my question is, so that's sort of my argument to answer the Facebook people's. I also look. Y'all know I'm not on any of this shit. I don't watch it. It scares me in some ways. But we can't forget that the people who are on Facebook Big Brother and Twitter Big Brother and Reddit Big Brother.
Two different people, two different groups.
Different groups, but they're also not representative of everybody.
So the people on Facebook Big Brother are the laymen's. The people on Facebook Big Brother are the laymen's. They're not watching feeds. They're only watching the show, and then they're commenting on Facebook. And so I'm actually a little upset. I'm not even gonna lie. I've come here and I'm a little upset because I watched tonight's episode, and tonight's episode, you guys watched it. There's a scene where Kyle is telling Brittany she used this for strategy, which Brittany and Michael did. I'm not sitting here to say they didn't. They 100%. Definitely did. But he's talking to Brittany, and he's telling her that he did not do the things she claimed he did.
Yeah.
45 seconds later, he's sitting in a room with Monty and Terrence, and he's telling him, I'm sorry, I accept it. It was my fault. I shouldn't have done this. Minutes before, he was defending
that
himself.
Is editing. I mean, we know that Kyle spent a long time in the diary room, and I'm sure in that time that he had to come to terms with what he had done.
But that's my point, is that due to the edit, it's as if there was one comment on Facebook that said Kyle accepted his punish. He accepted that he was wrong. Why does Kyle still need to be evicted? He's doing nothing but apologize. Another one said, Kyle, you do not need to grovel. You did nothing wrong. Your comments were not racially based. We're watching you right now. Literally, that's what the comment said because of how the edit was. It was not showing him in the meeting stating, all my decisions, you're right, they were racially motivated. He said that in the meeting.
Yeah.
Well,
they did not show that. So then the people on the internet feel justified in their defense.
But didn't he kind of say that? Like maybe he didn't specifically say.
No, Sheldon. He specifically said it in the meeting, but they decided not to air him saying those words.
But didn't he say that anyways? Like he said he looked at Jasmine. Sorry, he looked at Taylor, who was there to represent black women, and then Taylor went and said she would never put up Jasmine, who's another black woman. You also then have a strong black man. You also have Joseph, who was there to represent Palestinian and Lebanese, I believe, are his backgrounds, right? So to me, that's just, he said it. Didn't he say it? Like, why? No, why do you need him to actually say those words? This is racially. When he just said it, he was racial. He wouldn't have named those people unless it wasn't racial.
Because it does not lay out for the people that are defending him that his motives were racially motivated, which he specifically says.
I mean, I think this is obviously such a sensitive topic and extremely difficult. And, Kevin, you're going to come from a place that Sheldon and I can't even begin to comprehend.
Speak for yourself.
Excuse me. Sheldon is also a PSC. I forgot. And so I guess where even I can struggle with it a little bit is you do see like Taylor making the statement of, I will not nominate Jasmine, but I will vote her out, but I will not nominate her. And, Monty said very early on that he would have loved to sit with Amira at the end because she was a strong black woman. So, there's not like this, and Kyle's off. Okay. I'm not defending him at all. 100% his actions are wrong. When you see though, these comments that are made, and then you see, yes, Joseph and Monty, Joseph and Taylor, these three are kind of connected pretty closely together within this group of four. I mean, it is almost divided by race, whether that's intentional or unintentional. It is.
Disagree.
And
let me tell you
have
what.
Kyle, Brittany, Michael.
This is the biggest. Let me say the biggest problem. I'm sorry to cut you off, but let me say the biggest problem with all of this for Kyle. All of this. Monty's closest ally was Kyle. Kyle knew that.
Taylor's
Yeah.
But
closest
he
ally was
is
Michael
Brittany, and they knew that.
So can I?
Like that was the problem with what was
Yeah,
happening.
no. I
Kyle
mean,
grouping.
and not only I don't have as much of a problem with him grouping like Taylor, Monty, Joseph, but there was obviously no love lost between Taylor and
Taryn.
Terrence, and Taylor and
Correct.
Indy and Jasmine. That's where
What's his
problem
face? Terrence was through the veto to
Right.
get Monty out of here.
Exactly. Like you can put these three together, but you can't put 3 and 4 together. The math doesn't work.
Can I give you my analysis? I've been sort of thinking through this the last few days, as I said. I think like this sort of reminded me of a bad essay that I would get from a student. Except it's obviously much worse because this is real life and this is stuff.
Yeah.
But what does a bad essay look like from a student? It looks like the student went and looked for the information that he or she wanted the essay to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right? So what Kyle did was he went and he basically said, and it might not have been rooted in malice, and I don't know what's inside his heart.
Yeah.
But he went and he saw, okay, well, here's these people, and they're saying they're all here for the groups that their identity groups that they want to represent. And then we also see the Cookout who successfully did that last season. And those were the only facts that he used to come to his conclusion that there is certainly a possibility or a reality of a POC alliance and that something needs to be done about it. So to me, I don't know. I don't want to call the man a racist because I do not know what's in his heart. You two might say something very, very different. There is something certainly racial about it because he was
100%.
very simply separating the POC people from the white people. But what I see is stupid analysis, cherry-picked data. That's what I see was his error. But his biggest error, the thing that might make me go as far as saying, holy crap, this is a real racial thing, is the solution to that was let's get all the whiteys together and let's destroy everybody else. That to me was the line that he crossed that was the biggest mistake. The other stuff, I think, was just stupid analysis, stupid gameplay, a complete lack of understanding of what's going on with relationships around other people in the game.
Well, and I mean, and he's also just straight up just not looking at facts. I mean, he knows the things that have happened with Taylor in the house and how the women of the house treated Taylor. Like Indy saying she wanted to throw soup on her and, how much Jasmine hated her, put her up. So, I mean, like I'm once again not trying to justify it all, but he does have these 2 small examples of, hey, Taylor doesn't want to nominate a Black woman. Monty would have loved to sit with Amira. And like you said, he takes this and jumps all the way to the end of they're all working together. And that's where, his bias comes in.
Even worse. I know they're working with me right now, but obviously they're all working together. Like that's even worse to me. It's like we're in an alliance together right now, but the people that they said they want to get out, I mean, I'm lying about wanting to get Alyssa out. So obviously they're lying about wanting to get out the people they want to get out as well, maybe. Like there's no stretch. Like Mr. Fantastic can't stretch that far. You know what I'm saying? Like there's Elastigirl cannot stretch as far as Kyle did to get from one point to the other. And that's what's insane to me. The person that was the most hurt by all of this was Monty. He's crying to Turner, and he says to Turner, I thought I was super close to Kyle. I have been nothing but loyal to Kyle. And for him to decide that because I'm Black, he could never trust what I was telling him, like that hurts me.
Yeah, that was hurtful. That was a hard conversation to watch. Like,
what more can I do? He said.
Nothing.
What to Turner? What more could I do? And these are the things that are the problem with what's going on. Earlier, Sheldon, you asked, how was the Cookout okay? They were doing this thing. Not how was the Cookout okay, but you said you understood because they were doing this thing that didn't normally happen. Taryn Armstrong said yesterday or the day before Tuesday during the Big Brother roundtable.
By the way, that's a good podcast, but we are great.
yes.
They're okay.
But Taryn said, if an apple grew in an orange tree, that would be odd. But if an apple grew in an apple tree, that's not odd, that's expected. A Black alliance in this game of Big Brother that has been predominantly white is something that's odd, an anomaly, something you should be wondering, what can they do here? A white alliance in a game of that's predicated by white alliances for all the time. Usually because there's one or two people of color on the season.
And that's a great point, because I did want to say that.
Usually because there's only one or two people of color. So it's even more egregious when you say, you know what? The thing that we've been doing for like 20 years, let's do it, but with the intention of making sure that the thing that's been happening continues to happen.
A really big distinction to hit home on is intention, because, like looking at it when, it's easy to talk about like, okay, well, in BB 1 through 21, there was no, majority POC alliance because
BB
there was no
1
POCs,
through 20.
you know what I mean? Like
BB 1 through 20.
Yeah, they didn't even give them an opportunity, because there was maybe like one or two token POCs on a season.
Well, I want to make the distinction that 1 through 20, because 21 did have this more pointed decision making.
Yeah,
21 and 15 and 21 had pointed decision making.
I mean, like, there's until 22, or until 23, there wasn't even enough POCs to have made an alliance by themselves.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. And that was a decision by casting the whole time, because there was no mandate. There was no mandate to make this happen. So they just chose not to.
Yeah.
And Kevin, do you think that, I don't know if I should even ask this question. Do you think that Kyle was racist?
No. I don't think Kyle is a racist. I think Kyle is a guy from Utah who grew up in a Mormon household and has not seen enough of the world and not been taught. When Alyssa broke up with Kyle earlier this week, she said to, I think, Brittany or Taylor, that it is not her responsibility to teach this 30-year-old man things she learned as a child. And that is true. It is not her responsibility. By the way, people on the internet said, good for Kyle to have lost her, because she was not one to really ride for her man, because he did nothing wrong. It's
good
ridiculous.
For Alyssa for finally being like, hey,
correct.
This ain't mine. This is not my problem.
Well, look, I agree, but that's what my anger is at Big Brother for not showing more, because of the fact that if you show more, it may have a few people who feel a certain type of way understand why the things are wrong. One of my very, very good friends, he is Asian, but he was texting me, I don't think Kyle has done anything wrong based on what I'm seeing. And I said, the biggest problem with what Kyle is seeing is, as Kiley said, the dots don't connect.
Mm-hmm.
The things that were happening to him in the game, in terms of Monty, Taylor then working with the Alliance, Joseph being in the pound, like these things that were actually happening, he threw all that out with the baby in the bathwater. And he decided that this thing that I want to be correct will be correct.
But is that, this is horrible to say, is that because he was trying to do whatever he could to stop lying to Alyssa? Was Alyssa the real downfall for him?
My
because
question
he
for you,
felt
Sheldon.
so mad.
Sheldon, I know you don't watch the feeds. Kylie,
Yeah.
you do though. At any point, did you hear Kyle suggest bringing Alyssa in?
No, I mean, yes,
Not
into
it.
the White Alliance.
Right.
Yeah,
He
into the White
never.
Alliance. Yeah, for
He
sure.
never. He
But,
never suggested
you
them
know,
like bringing her in because yes, a lot of this has been shielded by him wanting to protect Alyssa, but
Everything.
at no point did he
well, and I mean,
attempt
one
to
thing
protect her.
that you said there, like, your friend was saying, I don't think that Kyle's done anything wrong. Well, I mean, I don't completely agree with that because I do think Kyle has done something wrong. Like, suggesting, hey, let's all the white people align to get out
Yep.
all of the POCs. That's wrong. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't matter if you're sheltered. It doesn't matter whatever. Like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Just point blank and the period. He's wrong here. And how he got there is wrong. And so, I don't know what else to say. Do I think that he has like this really ill intent? No. Do I really think that he is racist? No, I don't think he is like this, KKK Kyle, as he was trending on Twitter. I don't think that is probably him, but once again, don't know his heart. But just seeing the difference between somebody like how Kyle reacted when he was confronted with things versus how Daniel reacted. I think that you have to look at these two people and say one's not like the other. And I think that Kyle has a lot to learn. I think he's been very sheltered. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Another thing that upset me is the fact that, and once again, I want to make sure this is clear. Michael and Brittany use this 100% for strategy. They use this intentionally when it was convenient, and they're wrong for that.
Yep.
I do not like the fact that the episode wanted to paint Michael and Brittany more as a bad guy than Kyle, who actually committed the crime. That's a huge thing for me because they are not innocent. They're not innocent. But the way they portrayed the last hour and a half of the show was as if Kyle was merely misguided, but Brittany and Michael are the real villains for bringing it up when it was strategic.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I do think that also blurs the lines of like, what's okay game wise versus what's okay morality wise. And that's a line that I think you're always walking whenever you're playing a game like this. And I mean, ultimately, like, I 100% think that they, Michael, whenever it was brought to him, I think that he pondered it. Like, he did not immediately like say, what? Like, hell no, we cannot form an alliance with all of the white people. He did not immediately like shoot this down. I think he pondered it for a little while. He did talk with Brittany and said, oh, this doesn't feel exactly right.
He never was on board. He was never on board.
But
he didn't shut it down. No,
he didn't shut it down.
never.
But my thing is he doesn't. He absolutely pulls this out when he needs it. And that's because Michael is playing the game 100% of the time. And ultimately, him pulling this out saves one of his closest allies in Taylor, because without this move, Taylor goes home or Monty goes home.
Or Michael goes home if he didn't win the POV.
No, but he still wins the veto, right? So everything still happens the same. So he still wins the veto.
Off the block, Monty probably goes up, and they vote out Taylor because Monty has been pulled into that group. And so he did this to save his ally. And
so
I don't know, like, is this wrong? Is it right?
It's wrong.
Oh,
go ahead.
I think it's wrong. but I have to disagree with you, Kevin. In the sense that I honestly, and please tell me if I'm wrong, because I'd like to know, I actually am more upset with Michael and Brittany than I am with Kyle.
That's my point, though, right? Is that, like, based on the way the show portrayed it, you are going to be more upset with Michael and Brittany.
But let me tell you why.
Please tell me.
Let me tell you why. If my analysis is correct, and I basically just think that Kyle is an idiot, and did horrific analysis and suggested something that was certainly racial in nature, potentially racist, potentially not. I am uncertain. What Michael and Brittany did is weaponize the fact that they have this man, Kyle, who might be a racist, might not be a racist, and they said, we don't care. Our asses are on the block. Our asses are the ones in trouble, and whether he is or he is not, we are going to go and we're going to use this against him. And I'll be the first to say I was the biggest fan of Michael. I truly was. But to me, this is going a little bit beyond what is appropriate for a game move. This is personal. They painted him just as they wanted to paint him.
Let's stop that. They didn't paint him. They said what he said.
Well,
and that's the thing.
They said what he said, but they didn't say what he said right after he said it. They waited until they needed it.
Sure, they
no.
waited
No, you're right. You're saying what the internet's saying. If you're painting someone, you're trying to say that he was portrayed as something that he wasn't. All of those words were words he said. All of those intentions.
I don't disagree with that, Kevin. I don't disagree with that. My point is they were painting him, let's say, as a nice guy and part of their alliance and somebody they could work with until it was time until it was time that their rear ends were in trouble. So they said, we have this dagger. We know based on the people who are in the house, this dagger will work. So we are now going to use it. And I honestly don't feel like that's fair or right for them.
How's it not fair?
Because if they really believed that this was so bad, this should have come out 2 weeks ago. If not,
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with.
I don't understand the waiting. That's my problem.
The waiting, like I said, they used it for strategy. I'm with you. They 100% use this for strategy, and that's wrong. They only though said the things he said. They didn't create a narrative.
Correct.
They didn't change anything he said.
Correct.
Even when he denied it, Brittany's like, I talked to you about this in the bathroom.
Correct.
He's like, but it wasn't like that. No. When we talked in the bathroom, you said, yeah, but it's like this. Like they were all the things he said. But what you're saying, Sheldon, is what the same thing, like I said, the internet is saying, is that
am I Facebook or am I Twitter? Because I might be
Facebook.
Facebook.
You're Facebook.
No, I mean, I know what Sheldon's saying. Sheldon is saying when he said the word they're portraying him, he's saying like they are exposing. That would have been the better word.
They're exposing him. They're exposing him.
Kyle.
They are exposing him when it's beneficial for them.
100%. That's wrong.
Them. And I find that cowardly. Because if they truly thought that was wrong, that should have been a conversation that they had in the diary room with production to say this is wrong. That should have been a conversation that they should have gone to Monty and to Terrence and to all of these people and Taylor and everybody else and Joseph. I don't remember who was
Michael had the power that week. He could have put Kyle's ass up on the block.
Preach.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they could have.
You're right.
So,
listen, no, you're 100% correct. They use it as a strategy. They use it when it was to their advantage. They use it as a game mode.
Is what Michael and Brittany did worse than what Kyle did? That's my
no,
Kevin
no,
not.
How if you're the person that shot the person and then you just told the police about it 2 weeks later. If you told the cops 2 weeks later, how are you worse than the guy that actually shot the people?
Can I just tell you why I believe, and you can tell me why I'm wrong? Because it never actually happened. And I don't mean this racial talk didn't happen. There was no game impact because of this thing. However,
it could have been Joseph. That's what they're saying. Joseph went home. What was Kyle's thoughts on Joseph going home?
Not me.
Terrence says you should have went home last week. Based on this shit, you should have went home last week because I believed that you were saying Monty and Taylor and Joseph were running the game, right? I believe that because this is what Terrence is saying to Kyle. I believe that because that's what you said. But had I known you had these thoughts in mind, these are the things that you were thinking, that wasn't even what was happening. You made this shit up. And why did you make this shit up? It wasn't like KG Cam says here. Was it to protect Alyssa? Is that why you made it up? Possibly. Or was it because you want people of color out of here? I don't know.
Here's what I want to know, though, is all of this, 100% of this to blame on Michael and the work that Michael put in creating distrust between the members of the Leftovers, and especially where he was like gearing Kyle up to take this shot when Kyle could potentially be in power, because I kind of feel like this was Michael behind the scenes causing this division, because he was working very, very, very hard to put himself in a position to be in the middle of the Leftovers. And we see it weeks ago in the episodes in his DRs where he's like, yeah, you know, like I'm pushing Kyle in this direction.
He
like,
was
hey,
this
is shitty. They're going to make you get rid of Alyssa. And I feel like this all comes back onto
this
Michael.
This button was always going to be
I'm not
pushed,
even necessarily saying it in a bad way. Like,
no, Kylie's right. This button was always going to be pushed. Like, he was always going to expose Kyle, and that's how he was going to get rid of him. But his plan was to have Kyle do what Kyle wanted to first. These motivations, and then he was going to be like, by the way, I have this on Kyle to bring out that he was holding on all along.
But isn't that like, to me, that's almost worse.
It cannot be worse.
I think it can be worse.
As Sonia says here, Kyle delivered exactly what he is to a house full of strangers, and he was consistent with his things. He talked about the cookout. He talked about the diversity, people's whys, people's hows, the POCs. Kyle pushed it and pushed it. No one took the bait. He talked to Alyssa. Alyssa says that he never brought it up to her, but he talked to her about getting closer to Michael and Brittany. And he said, you cannot trust Jasmine. He told Alyssa to her face, you cannot trust Jasmine, her best friend in the house. He told her you can't trust her because she might be working with Monty and Joseph and Taylor. And Alyssa's like, Alyssa's words to him were, Jasmine hates Taylor quite a bit. I don't think she's working with Taylor. And he said, I don't know. It's something we need to watch out for. But get closer to Brittany, and you need to distance yourself from Jasmine. He said those words to her 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so this is coloring a lot of things.
I don't know. Michael's secretly an evil mastermind, and I love it. And I think this is like point blank. This is factual. Like Michael orchestrated all of this.
So Danny might be right here.
Working on it for weeks, and then he set Kyle up, and Kyle took that bait, and then Michael blew his ass up.
I think he blew his ass up, but I also believe Michael just blew up his own game. I do not think there's a way that Michael wins this season.
He does if he's next to Brittany.
Because he's going to win every competition.
I know. I don't think so. I just fundamentally,
he wins sitting next to Brittany.
If he's sitting next to Brittany, I honestly think that might be the only way he wins. But
I think he beats Monty as well, but he does not beat Taylor.
I don't think he beats Monty. I do not think he beats Monty. I fundamentally don't think he beats Monty.
He beats Terrence.
I think his weaponization of this makes him unable to win the game, and it would be unethical for me to vote for Michael after this. In truth,
but you have all of the information, and the jury.
Joseph, Indy. It's okay. Michael's in the end, right? Michael's in the end, sitting next to Terrence. Yeah. Joseph, Indy, Jasmine know what happened, but they also know that he won all these comps, right? But they know what happened with Kyle, because Kyle's going to have to go there and explain his own doings in this thing.
Correct.
Brittany and Michael's story, though flawed, has some backing, if you will. Like, it makes sense. It doesn't mean it's right, but their excuse of it really coming. So one thing that I talked about on the 5 p.m. show on Monday was that Michael said to Turner the reason that he mentioned it now was because it was Kyle's mentioning after Taylor was pushing for Alyssa to go up, and then she didn't. It was on that Wednesday that as a straight white male, he didn't know where his place was amongst the Taylor and Monty and them, still pushing his agenda last Wednesday. Michael said that's when he felt like it was serious, but then it was either Wednesday or Thursday. He said, but then we go right into the eviction, and then we split up. And this is the first available time we've had to talk about it because we get back together Thursday, Friday noms. He brings this up Sunday morning. So the timeline, though flawed, like Monty and Terrence have talked about numerous times, there's something a little tedious about them bringing it up now when they need it. It still makes it's still plausible.
Let me just say this. I would no longer be very happy with a Michael win. Simple as that.
Michael wins the game against anybody but Taylor, possibly Monty also. But Michael wins the game against 90% of the people left in the game.
Yeah.
And that's from right now. And I mean, however Michael gets to the end, being the biggest target by far, just adds to his resume.
Michael beats Turner.
Yeah, I think that
Michael
he beats
Turner.
everyone except for Taylor for sure. And then question mark Monty. And it just depends on how it plays out. You know, and that's
Terrence,
because they don't
Terrence
have
went all week trying to save Kyle. He went all week trying to save Kyle.
We didn't see that tonight on the show.
Right. Terrence tried to save Kyle the first 2 days that he went up. He was telling Monty, well, don't you think he would learn a bigger lesson if he could stay in the house and we could continue to teach him?
I think there's a whole lot of shit around. And there's a whole lot of yucky. And I have to say that I
disagree. There's not a lot of yucky, man. This is important conversations. These things have to be had. And if we talk about it like it's a plague, then these things don't get talked about. And they don't get brought up. And that's how Kyle continues to not know that this is wrong.
I mean, look, I agree with you in that, but I mean, it's a whole lot of yucky in the sense that it's extremely complex. There's a lot of different perspectives here. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of people in the mix. I think you can make an argument that Kyle is a horrific racist. You can make an argument that he's an idiot. You can make an argument that Michael and Brittany are saviors. You can make an argument that they're pretending to be white savior. Like you can make a lot of these crazy arguments here, and that's what makes it complex. And actually, this has become kind of strangely interesting to watch.
Well, and I mean, this isn't just black and white. Literally, this isn't just a thing of like, okay, is this morally right or morally wrong? Because you also are in the confines of a game. And so it's not just straightforward of like, hey, what Brittany and Michael did was wrong because they waited till an opportune time. They're still playing a game. And so they had to do what they had to do with the information. And ultimately, it saved Taylor.
What happens next?
Well, do you know what happens next?
I have no idea anymore. I have no idea where the house is. I have no idea who's going to be with who. I could see, I don't know, Terrence winning this game now. I have no idea what's going on.
I cannot see Terrence win this game. Terrence cannot win this game.
You know what happens now is we don't know who's HOH because they can't just end this bullshit 2 minutes earlier for us to see them complete a 5 freaking piece puzzle.
I know who's HOH.
And we have to wait for the feeds to come back up.
I know who's HOH.
But we're not at spoilers yet.
We're not there yet. I don't know.
So the biggest thing, the biggest thing about all of this to me, is that there's no way we could sit here and pretend like what Kyle did was okay at all. And I say that because, as you said, there's so many different ways it can go. The main thing you got to remember is that it was wrong. Kyle was wrong.
So hold on. So I tried to break down my analysis, and my thing that was wrong was the suggestion of creating a white person alliance. To me, that is specifically the wrong thing, and I will absolutely say that was freaking wrong. The other stuff that led to it was him being an idiot, him being just dumb. I'm sorry. No.
It's not him being dumb. It's racially motivated because of him being dumb. It ignored the things that were that it was in front of him. Monty is telling him everything going on in his game, and he threw that away because he's black. And it's not because he's dumb, it's because he has this bias that he doesn't understand. Doesn't make him it's not dumb, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And so you can't get a pass for just being dumb when you're ignoring the things in front of you.
I'm not giving the man a pass.
Right. I mean, but you are if you're just saying that it was just dumb. Like if you're saying that it was just dumb,
well,
then you're giving him a pass.
I'm saying that his analysis lacked a lot of data points and was just it was stupidly created way. It was stupidly done. And was it racially motivated? Well, yeah, obviously it was racially motivated. It had to be racially motivated. But I also think we can't forget the fact that there was the cookout that existed for that goal. And so that was part of what went into his calculation. That was another data point.
The next time someone looks at 4 white guys together and say, well, the brigade existed, they're probably those 4 are together. That's the one I'll be like, okay, cool. Just because there's black people here, you could be cool with saying that.
Which is why I think he's an idiot. Because it makes no sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's dumb. Like, it's like he forgot all of the relationship.
Everything that was happening while he was in it.
And honestly, I think that the easy explanation is exactly what you're saying, Kevin. It's absolutely a racial bias. Absolutely. I think that's got to be the explanation. But I also think that he's a 30-year-old man with a 15-year-old brain, I think. Right? He's extremely immature.
Other body parts too.
Right? And I'm not trying to take any blame away from him because what he did was wrong and he should have gone home and he went home. And I have to say, like, to me, one of the most impressive parts of what I saw tonight was the grace of the people in the house.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Amazing grace.
Yes. And I didn't even go to church ever.
Yes.
Other things that happened because this happened, right? All of this happened. We saw Alyssa break up with Kyle tonight. Like people on the internet on Facebook were like, kicking him when he's down, man. What kind of woman is this, Alyssa?
Okay, but guys, I'm sorry. Twitter and Facebook are not the real world.
Facebook, yeah, they are. They're
no, they're not.
People talking.
They're not the real world. You can't go on Twitter and actually know what's going on in the world. It's a lot of people who have nothing else to do with their lives who are posting on Twitter. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm very busy and I post on Twitter. So.
I know, which is confusing. I don't get it. Why are you on Twitter?
I'm very busy and I post on Twitter. So it's not people that have nothing else to do. I got a lot of shit to do. But
I don't like it. I hate Twitter. It hates me. That's it.
But Facebook's the layman, man. Facebook is the people that are watching the show. And Alyssa tells Kyle, we can't leave here together. And the reasons are not the racial reasons, actually. They're the reasons of I never felt like you had my back in this thing.
Yeah.
I've been
which is not
on an island.
100% correct, because if Kyle didn't have Alyssa's back, Alyssa would have been gone the week that Indy went home.
Well, if I remember correctly, he was planning on keeping Alyssa on the block when he was like the with Daniel.
Yeah.
And it was Daniel's decision to use the veto or whatever it was that basically saved Alyssa's rear end.
It was a now BB says Alyssa did not kick him when he was down. She broke up with him, then jumped on him 2 more times. They did have 20-second sex 2 more times.
This week?
Rumor, yeah, this week. Actually within the last couple days. In fact, rumor has it she might have went and take a pregnancy test just in case. Because Taylor was discussing the fact that she knew people weren't getting busy because there were no condoms used, but little did they know these two have been getting busy with no condoms being used. So they had
I like this question from Mike. Serious
We're not
question.
there yet. We're going to get to Mike's question in a little bit because I want to get to Mike's question towards the end. because that serious question is something I think we should wrap this up with. But Sheldon's face right now is much more important because yes, they had sex 2 more times.
How? I don't. But after she broke up with him,
Yes.
why?
Yes. Because she just needed that 40 seconds of pleasure,
Be
baby.
there and not put her hands on him.
Correct.
Okay, whatever. Not my business.
We also got in the 2 hours. We got the Turner putting up Kyle. Now, in the house meeting, Kyle blew everything up, which was an interesting decision.
But what else was there to blow up? Wasn't everything like splattered all over Alyssa?
Well, all over Alyssa. No, not all over her. Just real quick.
Anyways,
Just real quick.
Okay.
anyways.
But no, like his final 2 with Turner, right? He did not have to like put that on Front Street and put Turner out there like that.
Turner was like, I'm not involved in this. Just like,
Yeah.
That's the racist over there. Leave me out of it.
Like, that was an interesting decision by him, and I don't understand the gameplay from it.
I don't think there was any more gameplay at that
Mm-mm.
point. I think
I
Kyle
think he's
was
like, I'm
done.
gonna tell everything. Like, I don't want y'all to
But
think I got
why?
any top secrets.
Why?
Me and Alyssa, we had sex for 30 seconds. We had sex 7 times.
We've had sex for a combined 3 minutes and 33 seconds over 9 sessions.
Yeah. So here's the question. Where exactly is the house now?
Yeah,
Let's
I
lay
have
it
no
out,
idea.
Kevin.
So the rest of the
Kevin,
week, I mean, this is outside of the show, outside of the episodes, but Monty has been trying to work Taylor to want to put up Michael. Turner wants to go after Michael. Michael and Brittany told Turner by him putting up Kyle, they wouldn't immediately turn around and put Turner up. But they are considering it because Turner is Michael's biggest competition threat, which is true.
Based on history.
Yes, based on history, yes.
Idea
So-
that Mr. Monty won't win something one of these days again.
He might, but Turner has actively won things.
Yeah,
He's
Turner's
won 2
twice,
HOHs.
Monty's won once.
Yeah.
Terrence has won twice. So I mean, technically, Terrence is a bigger threat than Monty is.
Well, Terrence won once, and then he came in second to Michael on the other one. So
He definitely has been throwing stuff.
who, Monty? I don't think so. Because the reason Monty wants Michael gone is because he doesn't think he can beat him in a competition at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's been throwing things lately. And Michael just keeps winning.
Yes.
The slip and slide. We saw that yesterday that they used the slip and slide as a veto competition, and Michael beasted Monty.
That competition was built for Michael. Like
It's not. It is not.
I
It's built
think
for a taller, leaner guy. It's built for a
Michael-
tall guy. No, Michael doesn't normally move. The scrawny guy doesn't normally move like that. Think of the past winners. Fessy won that comp. Austin won that comp in 19. Like those
long legs, and he's a runner.
at 18.
That man.
I don't think it's like crazy that Michael won, but Monty probably should have done better. Just
Yes.
he's a
So
personal trainer. He's
he's
extremely
watching
fit.
this guy just beast him in these comps. And so Michael won a cookie competition yesterday. Him, Turner, and Alyssa baked cookies. They had a blind tasting. Michael won that shit. Michael don't
So
lose.
he's winning the cookie, but not the chess.
He won everything.
No, he's winning everything.
Oh,
He
he's
needs to
throwing
stop.
chess. He's throwing the chess games. That's
I
what
know.
he's doing.
He's throwing the chess, but not the cookies. Come on. Just throw it all. The thing is, he's won so much, there's no reason to throw anymore. It's done.
Earlier this week, Brittany let Michael know that Taylor is being talked to by Monty, and she's not going to put Michael up herself, but she's not going to stop the shot from happening. So she said to Michael that there's no more strategy is you just gotta win. Literally, she said that to Michael. Like they're talking to me, Brittany, about trying to get you out of here too. There's no more strategizing. It's just winning. You have to win out.
And I have to say that for such as a good player that Michael has been strategically, he did not need to win that many competitions.
He did early.
He didn't need to win anything. He needed to sit his rear end down.
Sheldon, he was on the block week 1.
And then was he on the block again?
Yes.
No, because he's won something every round.
No, he won those. The second veto he won, he was on the second veto one. He was on the block. The third veto he won, he was on the block.
Okay.
Like,
but that was before,
put him on the block.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That was before the leftovers.
That was before the leftovers. Yeah.
So as soon as there was a real leftover, like he should have sat his rear end down.
He's here. So
yeah, but I don't think he will be. Like I think he is the next big threat to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's the biggest threat to go.
Let's move into spoilers so we can talk specifics.
Okay, so
if you're not here for spoilers,
yeah, if you're leaving before the spoilers, we got many, but we got one. We got a big one. If you're leaving now, adios. See you. So watch the Sunday episode. The 5 p.m.ers will talk to you on Monday night to talk about everything that happened on Sunday. And you'll also hear CJ's feelings and Ryan's feelings about everything going on in the Big Brother house. You heard a little bit about it on Monday. You'll hear their feelings then. If you're taking off, adios. If you're sticking around, now's the time for us to talk about it.
How many language should we say goodbye in?
Adios, arrivederci.
What else?
That's all I got.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good night. Okay. Spoiler is a coming. Here it is. New HOH winner is Michael. It's Michael. Of course it's Michael. It's always Michael. Michael wins when he has to win. Michael continues to win. Michael is the main guy in charge. Michael is one win away from tying Janelle's record of most competitions in a season.
So now here's the fun part though, is we know there's a double eviction coming. So let's talk out this week. Michael's HOH. He is going to put
Michael's
up
HOH. He's going to put up Terrence and Alyssa with a Turner back door probably. Or he might put up Turner and Terrence with Alyssa as the extra one to use.
Excuse me, hold on. Why? We just talked about how Monty wants to get Michael out and Turner wants to get Michael out. Why the heck wouldn't he just shoot?
At who? Monty?
Monty.
He could beat him in competitions and he's a vote for him right now. He knows that Monty is gunning for him, but Monty is still pretending like he's with the 4 of them.
My problem is I don't fully understand who's with who anymore.
I will tell you right now.
Brittany
Taylor and Michael are on one side. Alyssa, Terrence, and Turner are on the other side. Monty is definitely in the middle. He's with the Big Brochella people, but he's also telling Turner he's his final 2. That's what the breakdown of the house.
And in the big scheme of things, he is with Turner more than he is with Michael because he cannot beat Michael in a competition.
We saw a conversation this evening with Monty telling Taylor that Michael's got to go.
Yeah.
And Taylor wasn't necessarily agreeing, but she certainly wasn't disagreeing.
She was definitely not disagreeing to his face.
Who is Taylor's real loyalty?
Michael and Brittany.
Michael or just Brittany?
Michael and Brittany.
Wow. So she
yesterday on the feeds, Brittany, Taylor said to the camera, I hope America likes Michael as much as I do. Oh. This is after Monty's conversation of gotta get Michael out. And she's like,
Okay, well that's interesting.
All right, so let's talk the scenarios. Let's say Turner goes home. And we go into this double eviction. Michael cannot compete for HOH.
Correct. But he can play in a veto.
But basically, if anybody but Brittany or Taylor wins, Michael is going on the block and is the target. If Michael does not win a veto, but he will get to play in it because there will only be 6 people.
Correct.
If Michael does not win veto, there's a great chance he goes home in the double. Like
100%.
Well,
This is the HOH he had to win. He had to win this HOH so that way he has the ability to play in every veto going forward.
Yeah, but there's a lot of vetoes going forward. And
But would it have been better if it? I mean, we're not going to get to see it until the episode. But if Brittany were close in that puzzle, wouldn't it have been better for him to let Brittany take the HOH?
That was the plan. That was the plan.
but-
Brittany and Michael talked about it this week. They said Michael said, if I have the chance to throw you the HOH, I will. And she said,
I was looking forward to Taylor HOH in truth, because I thought this is something that she could get done. I wonder how close it was.
I wonder too. We'll see on Sunday. I did not want a Taylor HOH right here because I knew a double was coming. So Taylor needs to be able to be HOH in the double, because if Michael doesn't go home, it will be Taylor. Like that is
Okay, so now here's my next question. Like, I love Taylor. She's going to win America's Favorite Player. She's going to have like an endorsement with Lay's when she gets out. Do y'all really want Taylor to win the season?
Yeah.
I'm a no.
Well, I think
she has done nothing but survive.
Yeah,
that is amazing. That's amazing.
Sure,
Michael's the best player.
Taking that away, and I mean, she's literally been on the defensive since like hour one. But
hour three. That's when Feast came up.
But
and then that's when we saw
I mean, like, I'm sorry, Michael has played the shit.
Oh
out of this
no,
game.
Kiley, I don't want her to beat Michael, but I want her to beat everyone else.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I'm whether he can deal with the ramifications of his actions when he gets out. Michael's played the shit out of the game. He has strategically run laps around people. He has competitively leaps and bounds ahead of everybody.
I just said that he's one win away from matching Janelle.
Right. I mean,
Janelle did this 16 years ago.
Yeah, he is outrageous. And I really think that he deserves to win the season. So that's where I'm at. Like him, dislike him. Honestly, like, I'm kind of neutral on him. I don't care one way or another. I'm neutral on that. Look at that. B-Bean, same brain.
B-Bean's neutral as well. Good if she does, good if she does not, because other things are waiting for her.
I can't get over the fact that Michael used this information about Kyle strategically. Like, I find that going above and beyond the game, and I find it very...
How? He did the thing. He did the thing, Sheldon. He didn't make anything up.
No, again, I don't disagree with that. Like, that's not my problem. My thing is he strategically chose when to release that information to benefit him. To me, that's the problem.
He's playing the game for $750,000.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kyle gave him the weapons, man. He just chose when to use them. Doesn't mean it's okay, but I'm also not going to condemn him for it either.
I am.
Like, I know you are. You are right now. Like, I'm not going to condemn him for using these tools. Is it shitty? Yeah, it is. Is it dirty? Yeah, it is. But does that mean he's not playing a good game? No.
Oh, he's playing the best game. He's been playing the best game this entire game. You also had a whole bunch of fools in this house. So Indy was here. So I don't know.
I mean, Alyssa's still there. This is the it as we talked about multiple times, it was a game move. And it was a terrible person move. But it was a good game move. Because he always was going to do this. Right? He was always going, even if he took out his biggest, he let Kyle take out his biggest competitors. If he sat next to Kyle in the final two, he was going to make sure it was known what Kyle was trying. The reason all of you are here is because Kyle's a racist. That is Brittany, who's who was sitting right there next to you, can vouch for the things that Kyle said. Let me launch into my opening statements, because by the way, I'm a lawyer. And then he would then go into his opening statement. He would then say, here's the evidence. And then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I, Michael, did not tell you guys all this to try to protect this man, but here we are in the end. And this racist was sitting next to us. Mike said, if someone told me they didn't like Jesus, I would wait until I was in trouble and then tell the preacher HOH about it. There you go. You gotta see Mike has no problems with it morally. You know what I'm saying? Which we're not surprised about.
I do.
It's true. Yeah, I get it. I understand that. But it doesn't, like, I just think it's insane that anyone can think that the person that was loading the gun and planning the murder is worse, is better off than the people that told the police about it 2 weeks later.
What if you
all right, this is getting into like beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
So,
It's not. We're definitely not being a dead. We're just Kiley, we're here to talk, right?
The
I want
horse.
to know what I want to talk about, and that is this question that I wanted to bring up for Mike earlier.
We're bringing it up at the end. We're not there yet.
This is the end. We're transitioning to the end. Serious question. Is something like this going to happen every season now? If so, will Big Brother no longer be fun?
Can I try answering this question?
Yes.
I don't know if saying that Big Brother no longer is fun is accurate, because I have truly found this, for me, exceptionally intriguing, and exceptionally, I've learned a lot, and I've also spent a lot of time in my head thinking about this, thinking, what did Kyle do? Did he do something right? Did he do something wrong? Did Michael do something? And I actually think that there is a really great learning opportunity in this. And so, if you want to watch reality television, I certainly think that we are currently finally watching reality television, even if we don't get the full story from CBS, as Kevin always tells me, because I don't know what's actually going on in the house. I'm just a pretend fan. That said, the core of this game is and always will be strategy. And even you guys are okay with what Michael and Brittany did because it was strategic, because of that. And you're looking at them and saying, great. I'm looking at them and saying that's above and beyond the game and shouldn't be part of it. Right? So like, these moral conversations are, to me, quite intriguing and quite interesting. And I don't know if it's fun, but it's certainly something I am okay to see.
You said it shouldn't be part of it. What does that mean?
What do you mean?
You said these things, what they did was above and beyond the game, and it shouldn't be a part of it. What do you mean by that?
I mean that weaponizing this for their own personal gain. We're going back to this conversation. But to me, it's they're strategically making a decision when to release this information is wrong. I think if they really had a problem with it when he said it, they should have told the entire house then and there. That's what I mean.
So Kyle thinks this through, and he says this during Michael's HOH week. Michael put up Daniel and Kyle.
Yeah.
He tells everyone during that week. So Kyle goes home instead of Daniel.
Correct.
Do we want that?
No. Sorry. We has actually nothing to do with it.
I'm talking about the people.
It has to do with the fact that
Daniel,
there's a moral decision that needs to be made.
So Daniel has been a tormentor to Taylor.
But who is Michael to decide who is the bigger evil person? He's not God.
The person he is to decide that he was the HOH. So like at the time,
I don't think so at all. Honestly,
he was the decider at the time.
If he's the decider, put up Daniel, put on Kyle, and let the house figure it out. Like I just don't. I just think that weaponizing this is wrong. I don't mean weaponizing it in the sense of saying it out loud, because it is true, as you say, Kevin. Every single thing that Brittany and Michael said was true. There was no lies. They told the truth. But strategically waiting until it was beneficial for Michael and Brittany's game, for me, is a step too far.
They should have definitely said it during Taylor's HOH, by far. Like, even if you wait till after your HOH, you should have definitely said it during Taylor's. Like there's no reason not to. Betsy's are over.
So maybe I'll make one little caveat. Maybe if they should have told anybody, maybe it was their final three. Maybe they should have had a conversation right away with Taylor and said, Taylor, this is what we're hearing from him. We're certainly not on board.
Yeah.
What the hell do we do?
Yeah. I agree. And to talk about Mike's question, is this how Big Brother is going to be going forward? For at least the immediate future, yeah. Because people are going to be wary of, just like people are wary of a guy's alliance, people are wary of, no one's ever wary of a girl's alliance. They claim they are, but they never work. But they're wary of one.
It's gonna work one day. It's gonna work.
Ask the Black Widow Brigade if it worked. It worked so good it scared the shit out of men for the next 20 years.
What show was that? The Black Widow.
Survivor. Parvati, Suri, Amanda.
And that wasn't Big Brother? It wasn't. I don't think it was. Anyway, so it will never work in Big Brother. It hasn't worked in Big Brother. It'll never work in Big Brother. Because the reason it doesn't work in Big Brother is because people are around each other for too long. Yeah. And they have like creature comforts. So then they start like Alyssa was a game player and then she wasn't. So like that's what happens. But
40 seconds ruins her game.
It was at the time it was 10, and he's gotten his stamina up to get the double. But this will be a thing that's in the game for a little while. But it's going to be not talked about after what happened tonight.
I'm not sure that's the case.
It will be, because you just saw what happened when you even brought it up, right? So like it was brought up. It was considered a racial bias. Now, if you bring it up during week one, it's probably not going to be too concerned about. In fact, Jackie said that at the start of the show. The argument that she could make is that if Kyle had pitched being worried about the Cookout 2.0 week one, people wouldn't be as upset. By the time he pitched this, he knew this alliance wouldn't make sense. And if you talk about it during week one, that's something you're looking out for, just like the girls, just like the guys. But as you get to know each other and you see these other relationships, you're
always going to be frowned upon. You're never going to be able to say it and not look like a racist. And that was I literally had this conversation with somebody last season, is next year, somebody is going to come on the show and they are going to be worried about a Cookout 2.0 and they are going to voice it and they are going to be labeled a racist. This is 100% going to happen, and it did. But it wouldn't have mattered if it happened in week one or if it happened in week 5. Like, you can't go there.
And Mike asks, is this no longer fun? We've just talked about it for an hour and 20 minutes about this. Yeah. And Kyle said this weeks ago, right? He said it weeks ago. We talked about it then. It's been content for us. We talked about it. It's been content for people on Twitter. Like, the game is still fun, but
I have to say, like, on a personal level, I don't have conversations like this very often. I truly don't. This is, in fact, the only place that I have conversations like this. So, every time I do talk about this, I certainly learn something, and my perspective certainly shifts. And look, I'm here for it. I'm very aware that I live an extremely good life. I truly do. I grew up as a Jew in a school where 90% of the people were Jews. Nobody was racist against me, at least not that I saw, right? I have personally never had anybody go up to me and say, because of you being a Jew, because of you being fat, because of you being whatever, you can't get this job. You can't be my friend. I've never had that. And it's clear that this actually happens in the real world, in many people's life, and me being reminded that this is a thing that actually happens in the year 2022 makes me want to be a better person. It makes me want to go into my classroom and talk to my students who are not all from the same community I'm from, who are from every other country in the world as well, to say, look, this is what's going on. How do you feel about this? How do we do something, just a little small thing today to make the world a little better? And you know what? That might not be fun. Fine. So the show won't be fun. I still think it's fun, but at least I'm going to get something out of it, and I'm here for it. I'm fine. Go BB. Not so much the challenge.
Kylie, do you think this is going to be in every episode or every season?
I do think that this is probably what ends up being the end of Big Brother, honestly.
Wow.
Because I think that while the people that are most invested are obviously the people on Twitter, the people watching and listening to podcasts and making podcasts, that's a smaller minority than what is out there in the Facebook world. And I think if you lose the general audience, you're going to lose the ratings and you're going to lose the show. And I think that ultimately the majority of people don't want to have these conversations. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. They want to turn it on. They want to watch their show, and that's it. And so, yes, I think that this is ultimately the end of Big Brother.
I think that's a very sad statement about the society, Kylie, that people don't want to have hard conversations. People don't want to look themselves in the mirror and say, is it at all possible that maybe somebody else in a house that is not related to me might have done something wrong? Like, to me, that's a very sad statement on society.
I think it's hyperbolic to think that's going to be the end of the show. People did not like when Paul lost and they said they'll never watch again. Then they did the next season when Paul was back. People did not like when Tyler was running the game and they said they would not be back. Then they came back each and every summer. There's not much to watch in the summer. The reason this is on during the summer is because it's done strategically. And people forget what happened last year because it's a new year. They may not watch the rest of this season, but come next summer, it's the most fun you could have during the summer. It's watching the Big Brother house. So I think they'll say they'll not watch anymore. In fact, several people said on Facebook they weren't going to watch anymore. So I went on there and said adios. So it's been great having you for as long as we did. Have a good night. Like, that was
I have to say that I made a statement earlier this season on one of the pods that I think this might be one of the last seasons of Big Brother. But not because of this stuff, not because of having conversations about race, but I said that because the cast was boring as hell. The product sucked. This product actually doesn't suck. Maybe some of the editing sucks and we don't actually see what's truly going on, and it would be nice to really see the real thing on the show. But this product is talkable. This is something that people might want to go and talk about at the office tomorrow or wherever they are. Like this is really interesting. Having the discussions, is Kyle a racist? Is Kyle just an idiot like I initially thought? Is Kyle dumb? Right? Is Kyle ever going to make 30 seconds? Like, these are really important conversations that are going to make people want to talk. And
some of them are.
No, whether it's strategy or whether it's more moral issues, maybe what happens is there's a different target market. Maybe different people are going to start watching the show. And that's fine, as long as people are watching.
It's true. It's true. Speaking of watching, make sure you tune in on Monday to catch me and the other 5 p.m.ers, CJ and Ryan, maybe a special guest, chatting and talking about everything that happened in the Big Brother house over the weekend. Also, make sure you guys keep your eyes peeled by subscribing and hitting that little bell for the notification, because the cast for Survivor 43 dropped, and we will be covering it soon when we get closer to the season. So Okay, I think we're like, what, 23 days away from the new season?
Yeah, not very
Something
far.
like that.
Like 3 weeks.
We're getting close.
Yeah.
And two things. No Canadians. Very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the one, 2 seasons.
Nobody that I played an online reality game with. So I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. So we will be covering Survivor. So make sure you're here to watch that. Make sure you get subscribed so we get to 250 subscribers so we can give away a golden power of Veto. So make sure you get subscribed so we can give that away. What else? Make sure you're back for, like I said, Monday, and join us next Wednesday for our Big Brother coverage as we roll into the double eviction to see who is going to be left. Oh, Kylie, you said you wanted to run through the things. I think that Terrence and Turner go up. I think Terrence gets voted out. I think Monty wins the veto. I think Michael
Double
wins the veto.
HOH.
Yeah, I think Monty wins a double HOH. He puts Michael up. I think Michael wins that veto as well. And I think Alyssa probably goes home on the double. That's what I think is going to happen.
No, wow, that would be such a waste of everything.
Well, I think he's going to put up Brittany and.
I would rather lose Alyssa in the double than waste a whole last week.
Yeah, he'll probably put up Brittany and Alyssa because he's probably won't put up Taylor, and he's going to put up Michael, and Michael will come down. So he'll probably put up Brittany, but Taylor's not going to vote out. Maybe Brittany
He'll
goes.
put up Brittany and Michael straight up because he can't afford to not have them up there together and one of them use a veto.
Yeah, Michael comes down. He'll put up Alyssa as opposed to Turner. Turner and Taylor are going to be up there when Michael uses the veto, and then she's going to vote out Alyssa. Turner's going to vote out Brittany, and then Monty will break the tie and probably send Brittany home. So that's how Brittany will go home.
All I know is that somehow, somewhere, our good friend Pooch is going to win. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Pooch can't win. He's not in the house. There's no edge of extinction.
There's always a little Pooch in my house.
Jesus. This has been fun times. Make sure you join us.
Well, one second. I just want to say thank you to both of you for allowing me, and thank you to our audience for allowing us to all have a conversation, which sometimes is really, really difficult and sometimes really, really uncomfortable. But I think ultimately extremely, extremely important. And I always learn something from Kevin and Kylie. So thank you for the two of you for letting me play in a sandbox with you, even if I sometimes get a little dirty. So thank you.
No problem. It's been fun. Join us on Monday as come to you live from outside of the Big Brother house.
Very outside, because I don't want to be in there.
Continue to not be racist. And if you do end up being racist, just make sure Brittany and Michael are there to call you out on it a little bit later. All right. Good night.
Oh, my God.